Ceremonial then. Oh, yeah, yeah. Ceremonial starch. Ceremonial starch.
That's in the book?
Yep.
We played that before.
Yeah, it's in the book.
Well, in the...
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
It's got holes.
So it's actually a cemented...
That's right.
Letter F optional ending is out, right?
Letter F optional ending is out, right.
Continue.
I'm out for 2 vocals.
You ready?
Oh, wait a minute. Wait, sorry. Feel a breeze coming on.
Oh, sorry, that was me. Okay?
Well, you know what I mean. A lot of people don't make it to 50.
No?
You're the, you're the young runt of the group.
So we're splitting lead on this, Scott, too?
Are we on public circumstance? Yeah, we always do.
Let's start it. Let's start at 9. Let's not do that.
Parents, families, trustees, faculty and staff, and my fellow graduates, almost. Today's date is June 6th, 2026. Now, this is a very important day for the very important group of people that I lay my eyes upon today. I'm Simeon Williams, and I want to warmly welcome you, all of you who are under this tent, to the commencement of Morristown Baird School's class of 2026. Now, I'm sure everyone with me on this stage is overjoyed to be accompanied by their parents, grandparents, siblings, and all of you other loved ones who are here to share this moment with us all. We are glad and we are honored that you are here for us. And I think I can speak for all of us students when I say that this moment is bittersweet. And also, I'm sure my stomach isn't the only one with butterflies flapping around. College starts in 3 months. I can't even do my own laundry yet, but let's keep that between us. These grounds that we stand on today, which have been our home for the past 4 years, and for many of us, longer than that, are founded on passions. The passions that drive our teachers as well as our students. Our faculty and staff demonstrate this passion every day when they have to deal with us in class. They showed us every day that they wanted to be here, mentoring us and preparing us to accomplish extraordinary feats in the future. We've seen their passions everywhere, in the number of nights Mr. Rutman stayed after school to make sure that we put the best show that we could on, in the countless practices our coaches ran after a long school day, in the passionate patience math teachers showed every student who just needed that extra push. To the teachers in front of me, your passion sparked our passions, my passions. The English department nurtured my love of writing, telling me regularly that my essays were too wordy, but the arguments were there. The theater department gave me the spotlight on the founder's stage, where I transformed from a Bible seller in Inherit the Wind to a screaming, blonde-wigged Rapunzel in Into the Woods, and finally, most recently, into our glamorous dancing murderess in Cook County Jail of Chicago. And I know I'm not the only one who has had the chance to develop my interests here. Many of you have found your true selves here too, whether as a woman in STEM, a trilingual tap dancer, a star hockey player, an SGA leader, or as a dedicated servant of the community. Right up until last week, some of our graduates have been exploring something they care deeply about through their various senior passion projects that have ranged from constructing a miniature scale model of a traditional Spanish home, a project to investigate DIY biofuel, writing and performing for seniors, citizens suffering dementia, and 2 of us even spent the last 3 weeks building a wind tunnel. Someone even developed carnivorous plants while someone else used their talents to design clothes for a fashion show. Others explored their passions in the business, sports, and medical world through daily internships, getting a glimpse of what their working futures hold. But as we celebrate the school built on passions, we must also face the reality of today. Now, I won't lie, this is kind of a scary time for us. Guys, we're big kids now. The real world is approaching, but we're prepared. Every one of us on stage here has faced obstacles in our high school careers. But this school gave us the needed resources to overcome them. And I want to express my sincere gratitude towards the entire MBS community who lifted us up over those obstacles. So to my fellow seniors, classmates, and friends, Let's go out with a bang. The bond we've solidified over the years is so strong, and the family we formed does not have to end, even if it means I have to drive and visit each and every campus next year. Let's all take a moment to look out and take all of this in for one last time. To say it has been a pleasure to spend these last 4 years with you all is the understatement of the century. May our passions continue to shine right through us for the rest of our lives. Thank you.
Good morning and welcome. I want to give a warm welcome and thank you to our trustees, faculty, staff, alumni, families, and friends who have gathered to celebrate the wonderful class of 2026. It is my great pleasure to welcome you to the 55th commencement of Morristown Baird School on this beautiful but steamy June day. Looking at the graduates beside me, I can assure you that we have so much to celebrate today. Someone I admire once told me that life is just a series of moments. Graduates, I want you to pause and look around. Breathe in this moment, because it's a special one. At one point, every student, family, faculty, and staff member under this tent chose this community, whether it was the values or the academics or the many innovative programs. You chose this place for its possibilities, and today we celebrate who you have become. Each of you has grown up individually, but you've also grown together as a group. And I implore you to stay connected. Come back to your reunion. Oh, that's a price of humidity. Pages stick together. And remain part of a place that is cared for you in ways that you may not even realize yet. This moment is bittersweet, as it is the last time this group will convene as students at MBS. Yet it is also the first time for them to come together in their new and lifelong identity as MBS alumni. To start today's program, we'll be hearing from the president of our Student Government Association, Daniel Raymer. When I think of Daniel's leadership, I think of his love for MBS, his willingness to step up and lead, his consideration for others, and his commitment to doing the right thing. While Daniel embraces all of the MBS values, the one that most readily comes to mind is engagement. Daniel has participated in virtually all that MBS has to offer. A proud member of the Cum Laude Society, an outstanding performer in our theater productions, a 3x4 athlete, SGA president, and a member of the head of school advisory committee, just to name a few. He doesn't just urge his fellow students to get involved, he models it. Daniel set out to leave MBS better than he found it, and he has certainly succeeded at that. He has always understood the importance of gratitude. One of the legacy programs that he created was the Crimson Cornerstone Awards, which is a student-driven awards program to recognize faculty and staff who go above and beyond for our students. As you can imagine, an award that comes from the students is incredibly meaningful to our faculty and staff. Daniel has worked tirelessly to advocate for the students that he was chosen to represent, but always with respect for the school's mission and values. Please join me in welcoming Daniel to the podium.
Is everybody here? Is everybody ready? This is really it. Ladies and gents, this is the moment you've been waiting for, the day we've been working towards for 4 years. Good morning, Ms. Levinson, Mr. Lease, Board of Trustees, faculty, family, friends, distinguished guests, loved ones, even the guy in the back in the red shirt who might have just wandered into the place by mistake. Sir, the Arboretum is around the corner. And of course, a good morning to my fellow students, the graduating class of 2026. Now, I would like to begin by reflecting on the additional value that the Executive SGA embedded in our strategies and actions throughout this past year. That value is gratitude. In this spirit, I'd love to acknowledge the incredible team that I've worked with this year: Catherine Chandler, Cameron Weil, Reed Snyder, and Marilee Vartanian. And at this time, I would like my peers to please stand up. Parents, grandparents, siblings, guardians, chosen family, and the brilliant, Harry Potter gowned faculty sitting in front of me. You have helped make us who we are. These people are really good, guys. They showed up day in and day out. They did whatever it took to raise us up into healthy, confident, and capable people. So let's give them applause like we've never given anyone before. You may sit down. For those of you wondering, yes, I finished this speech at 11 p.m. last night. Not because I procrastinated, though, but every draft sounded like a motivational poster threw up on a TED Talk. So here I am, embracing my truth. There are no words to fully express the magnitude of this moment. It's not like I'm new to public speaking at MBS. 9 months ago, at Convocation, I likened us to bamboo, which spends years building a hidden root system before rapidly growing tall. Our root system is the teachers, coaches, and peers who support us. And like bamboo, we need to be tenacious to succeed. 3 years earlier at Convocation, I compared us to koi fish, whose growth is determined by its surroundings. But unlike the koi fish, which is limited by the constraints of a fishbowl or a pond, this environment has offered us tremendous potential for growth. All we had to do was engage in our community. 4 years ago, and a little more vertically challenged, I suggested at our middle school moving up ceremony that together we stood on a precipice, with one foot firmly planted on familiar ground and the other dangling on the edge of our future. And at 14 years old, that seemed like the most pivotal moment we'd face in our entire lives. But this one is bigger. And speaking to you all for the last time is hard. In the past, I've spoken about confidence, adaptability, perseverance, engagement, tenacity, honesty, integrity, and gratitude. All traits and values that shape our character. But after reviewing my previous remarks, I realized something was missing: kindness. Over the past 4 years, I've observed that kindness instills community. That brings me to one of my fondest memories. It was the fall pep rally, time for the Rubik's Cube competition, and Joey Laviola, our resident polyglot with a penchant for sleight of hand, steps into the moment casually. 11.67 seconds later, Joey's hands were raised in victory, but the reaction is what made this moment priceless. The senior section erupts. People flood down to him because that's what it looks like when kindness becomes culture. Joey's win was a victory for all of us. These moments aren't usually so dramatic. More often than not, they're mundane, like holding a door open, an unspoken but common practice at MBS. It says, "I see you. You matter. You go first." Or, like the 30-second walks through the cafeteria that somehow stretched to 30 minutes. You run into people in different corners, different clusters, different conversations that always feel worth staying for. We stop, we listen, we ask how someone is doing. We wait for the answer. These small acts of kindness, repeated day after day, bonded us. And reflecting on this brought me to a second epiphany. Not only does kindness instill community, but kindness is where leadership lives. I've tried, in my own small way, to define my time here through quiet, intentional kindness. My hope was that my actions would ripple across campus and beyond. My aim was never anything grand. It was just to show how we can support each other. There's an asymmetry to kindness. The effort can be small, but the impact can be huge. Take, for example, my advisor, Mr. Lovelock, who acted like it was no big deal to kindly sit on the phone with me at 8:37 last night, offering suggestions on how to reduce the length of this speech. Oops. And so, my nearly minted fellow graduates, as we once again stand on a precipice, I don't have a koi fish metaphor or a bamboo analogy for you. I simply hope that the community we shared here at Morristown Baird School, a community built by kindness, thoughtful leadership, and genuine care for one another, will forever be part of your foundation. We have been bound by these relationships, by our shared experience of a time that could never come again, and of course, by the knowledge that we hold certain photographic evidence that would be exceptionally valuable if any of us ever ran for office. Today, we're seniors, parking in the senior lot and ruling the roost. Tomorrow, we're right back to the bottom of the food chain. As we embark on our next journey, let's remember that an individual's legacy is not defined by dates or accomplishments, nor milestones or titles. It is found in our character, the most accurate and final measure of who we choose to be. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Morristown Baird faculty, friends, family, and most importantly, my fellow graduates. It is truly an honor to stand before you as the valedictorian for the class of 2026. When I sat down to write this speech, I felt overwhelmed by the weight of choosing the right message to give my peers. Should I advise you all to live in the moment? Should I urge you to chase your dreams? Should I ask everyone here to promise to keep in touch, knowing full well half of us still haven't answered texts from last week? But then I realized the answer had been present throughout my entire life. When I was around 7 years old, I played on the Devils Youth Boys AA ice hockey team. The following season, I got moved up to the more competitive AAA team, and I burst into tears the second I received the news. Not because I was nervous about the competition, but because I didn't want things to change. I didn't want to leave my teammates, my routine, or what felt familiar. Years later, when I was 13, I found out I was admitted into Morristown Baird, and I cried again for the same exact reasons. I was terrified to leave behind the people I'd always known. I was shivering at the thought of unknown classes and unknown friends. At the time, change was a mixture of loss and fear. But now, at 18, and standing on the edge of another unknown, I can't deny that change is scary and sometimes causes loss. But it also brings with it a transformational promise. My change of schools caused other changes in me. Most of all, it completely reshaped my relationship with learning. Before MBS, school often felt centered around just getting good grades or hitting deadlines. The teachers here encouraged me to think creatively. Every one of them strives to get their students to genuinely engage with learning. I will never forget the time when Ms. Cratton convinced our entire class that she was psychic just to help us better understand psychology. And we fell for it. Classes like Language of Leadership challenged me to speak in front of an auditorium full of middle school students to give them advice about high school. At the time, that was the most nervous I felt in front of an audience, until I was told I had to speak at graduation today. But in fact, maybe 100 middle schoolers were even more intimidating than 1,000 of you. Taking AP US and Euro taught me that I didn't have to abandon my creative instincts just because of the academic rigor. There are probably 10 of us on this stage right now who could still do our Hamilton-style rap about the Revolutionary War. And if you've been on campus around this time last year, you'd have seen us dressed up as a variety of founding fathers and Uncle Sam for the AP exam, which says a lot about how the school made learning feel exciting enough that we actually wanted to participate in it. MBS caused the end of what I thought was my forever hatred of math. My old approach was just doing the first problem on the study guide and then convincing myself I understood the rest. Yikes. So in junior year, I basically moved into the CQR, the Math Help Center, where numbers finally clicked for me. And it's not just me. I know that everyone behind me today has experienced similar changes, similar personal revolutions. But in order to grow from change, we all need a loving environment. No matter if it was missing class for sports or Route 24 traffic, every teacher, administrator, and coach met me with patience and understanding. There was never a morning when I wasn't greeted by security guards Dave, Bobby, and Joe asking how my game went. Coming to MBS has also brought me friends that I now consider family. To my classmates, thank you for making these 4 years so unforgettable, and for always being there for me when I needed support the most. Whether it was cheering each other on at sports games, spending time in the stew, hiding at someone's house at 6 a.m. during that game involving water that none of us are supposed to talk about, or playing hacky sack in the quad, those little moments are what brought our class so close together. I also want to give a special shout out to Sophie's Quizlets that probably saved about half of the environmental science students sitting here today. None of this change, this reshaping, would have existed if I had stayed comfortable and unafraid. So, I think what I've realized over the past 4 years is something I've known all my life: trust in change. Today, many of us are feeling two powerful emotions at once. We are grieving the loss of a community that has meant so much to us, and we're a little fearful about what comes next. Both of those feelings are real, and we can't deny them. But sadness is sometimes beautiful. It means we were fortunate enough to be a part of something worth missing. As my favorite character from The Office, Andy Bernard, once said, "I wish there was a way to know you are in the good old days before you've actually left them." And the fear? I've already cried like 3 times today, like I did when I left the hockey team, and like I did when I left my previous school. But I'm going to wipe my tears, knowing that the most cherished parts of my life began with me stepping into something unfamiliar. I encourage us all not to tremble in the face of the massive change that's coming. I want us to embrace it. None of the past 4 years would have been possible without the support of my teachers and my prescription of ADHD medicine. To my mom and dad, because of your countless sacrifices, I was able to attend Morristown Baird and pursue the sport I love in college. Every achievement I have is rooted in the love and encouragement you gave me. And to all the parents sitting in the audience today, as we're here in our white dresses and navy blue jackets, thank you for everything you did for us along the way. Whether we always showed it or not, none of us would be sitting here without you. No amount of thank yous will ever fully express how grateful we are. And finally, to my classmates, let's trust the change ahead. Because if these last 4 years have taught us anything, it's that the unknown can be something extraordinary. Thank you and congratulations.
Mrs. Levinson wasn't kidding about the pages, they're sticky. All right. Hello, Morristown Baird faculty, families, and my fellow seniors. For those of you who don't know me, I'm Brian O'Neill, this year's senior class president. I'd like to begin by thanking my class for trusting me with such an important year, my tremendous cabinet, Hannah Morozavi, Evan Daniels, Carly Kofer, and Skylar Goldstein, and last, but certainly not least, our class dean, Mrs. Cretton, for helping make it a great one. It is my privilege today to present the class gift on behalf of our senior class. I began attending MBS in 7th grade. You might be wondering why I mentioned that. Well, it's because my most embarrassing moment in 6 years at this school came in the 7th grade. About halfway through the school year, my advisory had a spelling quiz. Unbeknownst to me, if you did well on the quiz, you'd be invited to participate in the middle school spelling bee. If I had known what would happen next, I would have respectfully declined. But as 7th graders typically do, I figured winning the spelling bee was basically a guaranteed path to Harvard, so I obviously accepted. Then came the big day. I strutted onto stage in Founders for the first time in my life, confident as ever. But then Mr. Marmo's spotlight hit my face pretty hard, and suddenly I forgot to function as a human being. I was asked to spell the word Kentucky. My mind went completely blank, so as one does, I blurted out the letters K-N-T-K-Y. Yes, you heard that right, K-N-T-K-Y. I forgot the vowels. Needless to say, I slumped off stage, absolutely convinced my life was over. I thought I was going to explode from embarrassment, be socially exiled, and probably have to transfer to another school somewhere across the country. When I got to the dining hall, post-B, I ran into Mrs. Swanson, the moderator of the spelling bee, and the first thing she said to me was, "I'm proud of you for going up there and trying." I just nodded, completely speechless. Then I tiptoed across the dining hall and sat down quietly at my lunch table, ready for the inevitable, let's just say, commentary from my friends. I was definitely hit with a few jokes, but after the giggling subsided, underneath it all, I could tell there was also respect. Respect that I had gotten up on stage and put myself out there, and honestly, after that lunch period, I never really thought about the moment again until I was asked to write this speech. And now, as I leave this place, I now recognize that that moment and plenty of others in the past years at MBS served as motivators for me to get back on any stage and push myself without fear. The worst had already happened in 7th grade. All of this says something about the community here at MBS. At MBS, people push each other and they catch each other, whether it's on a stage, a field, in a classroom, or on the prom dance floor, as we found out a couple weeks ago. This community encourages people to try, even at the risk of publicly failing once in a while. When I think about the heart of community at MBS, I think of the dining hall. It was never really just a place to eat lunch. It's where friendships formed, stressful days got a little easier, and random conversations somehow became lasting memories. It was one of the few places where every person in the school came together every single day. That is why, as our senior class gift, the class of 2026 chose to contribute towards the final renovations of the dining hall. We wanted to give back to a space that gave so much to us. Long after we graduate, future students will sit at those same tables, build friendships, taste test the occasional funny-looking dessert, and create their own memories there. And hopefully, if one of them ever spells Kentucky without vowels in front of their whole school, they will discover the same thing I did. At MBS, one bad moment is never bigger than the community around you. Thank you, and congratulations to the class of 2026.
Good afternoon, families and friends of our graduates, to my colleagues, our trustees, Big Ave, shout out Big Ave, and this entire group of soon-to-be MBS alumni. At this celebratory and sentimental time of year, it's not uncommon for people to share well-known quotations or sayings to impart wisdom or perhaps put an entire experience into perspective. The week after your last day of class, I was texting with a friend of mine who also happens to work in education. I shared that I felt I'd been moping around campus a bit, trying with very, very little success to make it appear as though I did not miss seeing you guys in the Student Center. He responded with an expression which I'm sure we've all heard at some point. If you love something, let it go. If it returns, it's yours. If it doesn't, it never was. My response was one simple word: nonsense. That story is about 98% true. I actually used a word other than nonsense that I'm not comfortable saying at a commencement ceremony. I also asked Mr. Lovelock if there were any British terms that I could substitute, and he said those were actually more offensive. So we will stick with nonsense. But in terms of the quote, I just don't buy it. If you look at my own life, I married the person I met when I was 15 years old. I've publicly stated I want to work here for the rest of my life. My philosophy is probably more along the lines of, if you love something, don't let it go, but not in the, don't hold the kitten too tightly kind of way. Just in the, I know a good thing when I see it. Now, I'm not saying that every famous saying is a bunch of nonsense, but as I grow older and theoretically wiser, there's definitely a list of these sayings which my observations and lived experiences would contradict. For example, as someone who's always been fascinated by history, I've often thought about FDR, our 32nd president, who at his first inauguration, in an effort to calm the nation and restore its confidence in the wake of a massive banking crisis and soaring unemployment, said, "The only thing we have to fear is..." Right, exactly. Powerful words from one of the most impactful leaders in our nation's history. And yet, with all due respect, if I may, President Roosevelt, I see your eloquent and inspiring message and raise you murder hornets. That's a thing. Have you seen them? They are terrifying. What about clowns? I don't actually have an issue with clowns, but hundreds of horror movies seem to make me think that maybe there is something there. Fun fact, we will not let Mr. Marr watch the It movies because we're worried it will break his spirit. But I digress a little bit. If you love it, let it go. I understand why people say this and what they mean. Perhaps it's an attempt to comfort someone in the midst of a relationship that has turned sour, or deciding whether or not to continue to commit to something to which they've devoted so much time and energy. I also get it. I have a job which requires me every June to say goodbye to a group of people who I've grown to love. Now, it's not like there aren't certain things I won't miss about you guys. I will say, Ms. Platt and I have definitely enjoyed the last 3 weeks or so of not having to police your substitute words for nonsense in the stew. But you are undeniably a special group who's accomplished so much together, and that's what makes it so hard to see you leave. But given that it's happening, whether I want it to or not, I suppose I'll have to accept that in this case, if I do love something, it's time to let it go. But regardless of whether or not you come back, which I hope and expect all of you to do, every one of you will always be ours. You will always have a home at MBS, and MBS will always be a part of who you are as well. It's time for you to go be amazing somewhere new, and time for us to let you go, but not before I get to say congratulations to the class of 2026. All right, that was the hard part for me. I actually made it through. I'm pretty proud of myself. Before I let you guys go, though, I have the unique privilege of presenting some special awards and well-earned recognition to some amazing members of this class. First, the Cum Laude Society is a national organization which recognizes superior scholastic achievement at the secondary level. I'd ask the 21 students to stand as we recognize their induction to the Cum Laude Society earlier this year. And, hold on. All right. You guys beat me to it. I was about to say, and hold your applause until I introduce all of them. But I will read all of their names. Alyssa Bambassett, Christopher Blancuzzi, Madeline Bond, Morgan Borofsky, Catherine Chandler, Philip John Sickler, Carly Kofer, Evan Daniels, Charles Everett, Rye Fleming, Antonia Galdi, Sophia Greller, Lily Horowitz, Isabel Jaffe, Sarah Marine, Sohan Norden, Ashley Parker, Claire Patchett, Daniel Raymer, Ronnie Schreier, and Jack Song. You may be seated. Thank you. Next, we will recognize the notable academic performance of several individuals. While these recognitions are based on numerical calculations, their effort, their engagement with their teachers and peers, and their desire to seek out new challenges have produced the results which we acknowledge here today. I'd ask that they come to the podium to accept their award when their name is called. First, we recognize the class valedictorian. The valedictorian is a student who has attained the highest grade point average for their junior and senior years. This year's valedictorian found incredible academic success while taking a full slate of AP and honors level courses, while also balancing an incredibly competitive athletic schedule for both MBS and her travel program. Please join me in congratulating the valedictorian of the class of 2026, Reed Snyder. Next, we will recognize our senior class leaders, the students with the highest senior year GPA. The class leaders for the class of 2026 are Riley Algazi, PJ Sickler, Shyla Gonzaga, Alexa Myers, Claire Patchett, and Ellie Sadrian. The Thompson D. Grant Award is given to the student with the most improved grade point average from the end of the junior year to the end of the senior year. The Thompson D. Grant Award for most improved GPA this year is presented to Lester Taylor. Next, we will share the awards which were voted on by the faculty, which highlight the unique qualities of each recipient. Our first two awards are presented annually to the students in the senior class who best exemplify the qualities of character, scholarship, leadership, and service. This year's recipient of the Dickinson W. Richards Cup is known by both her peers and her teachers as someone who can be relied on for pretty much anything she sets her mind to. In the interest of time, I will not list every activity which she is engaged with during her time at MBS, from clubs and literary magazines to theater productions and community service initiatives. I won't recite the amazing comments she has received from her teachers and the exceptionally challenging courses she has taken, or talk about all the ways she makes every space she walks into better than those around her. Instead, I will share two of my own personal highlights from her senior year. First, her independent study on forgery, when apparently she and the other students she worked alongside somehow sweet-talked their way onto a secret special tour of the Met. Then there was her final project for her advanced topics course on conspiracy theories, for which she created a fictional cult based on Avatar, which included a presentation which one audience member described as, quote, unsettling. I said that. It was meant as a compliment. A student of many talents, unending selflessness, and a sneaky great sense of humor. Please join me in congratulating this year's recipient of the Dickinson W. Richards Cup, Katherine Chandler. The Hillis Citizenship Award, which is given in memory of Albert Fisher Weber Jr., is presented this year to a student whose legacy at MBS, I would argue, will be the topic of discussion for years to come. Much like Catherine, this student took and found success in challenging courses, has been involved in every area of school life, and has devoted his time and energy to improving the experience of every student in our community, present and future. One of the great joys of working at a 6th through 12th grade school is that we have the chance to quite literally watch a student grow up. I first encountered this student while he was still in middle school, performing not on the founder stage, but on the class of 2020 quad as we staged our musical performance outdoors that spring. While he has continued to perform throughout his time at MBS, I've gotten to know him in many other roles, and in particular as a leader of the school. And I use that phrase specifically. He's not just a student leader or a leader amongst his peers, but a leader of this school, full stop. This student has taken the responsibility that comes with leadership, the hard work behind the scenes, the reality of being confronted with roadblocks and setbacks, the demands it places on any semblance of balance you try to create, and he's found ways to succeed for the benefit of our school time and time again. It is with great pride that I recognize this year's recipient of the Hillis Citizenship Award, Daniel Raymer. Our next two awards are presented to the students whose academic prowess is only partially captured by their final grades. The William H. McBride Prize is presented by the faculty in honor of Bill McBride, a teacher of science at Morristown Baird from 1977 through 1996. The prize recognizes a student whose academic rigor, enthusiasm, and curiosity serve both as an example to other students and as a reminder of the spirit and dedication of Mr. McBride. My good friend, Mr. Burns, has often said that you don't receive an MBS education, you pursue it. This year's recipient of the McBride Prize has epitomized this as much as anyone, and it started in a quite literal sense. While in her sophomore year at her previous school, she knew she wanted more challenges, more options, and more of what she felt would lead her down the path she saw for herself. Once she arrived here, she absolutely pursued the experience she envisioned, which is not surprising for someone who described herself in her application to MBS as resolute, never backing down from a challenge. Her teachers and coaches have seen this firsthand, consistently describing her as engaged, persistent, inquisitive, and collaborative, and the work she produces as exceptional. This alone makes her an obvious candidate for the McBride Prize. What I most appreciate is that she did not play it safe. We want our students to take risks, to challenge themselves, to not fear the unknown, but rather embrace it, to pursue their education, not someone else's version of what it should be. It's for this reason, among many others, that I'm so happy to present this year's William H. McBride Prize to Madeline Bond. The William C. Mules Prize, given by the faculty in honor of Bill Mules, head of school from 1992 to 1998, is awarded annually to the senior who reminds us most of the qualities that Bill Mules brought to the school: a passionate love of learning, and a fascination for an enormous range of facts and stories. This year's recipient fits that description to a T. How do I know? Because I read all the comments, because I know them. Essentially, every teacher who has had this student has written a comment which contains some reference to their command of a wide range of subjects, as well as the connections which they draw between the content from one class to another. It doesn't matter if it's their English elective, AP European History, spaceflight engineering, or that fake math class that Mr. Fisher sort of made up this year for the kids that completed BC Calc. This student is able to see the enormity of knowledge that exists in the world and find the spaces in between to form one cohesive narrative. My favorite acknowledgement of this student's academic strength occurred this spring at two separate award ceremonies. Two of the student's teachers, in separate speeches, essentially admitted that they were worried about running out of material to teach them. Fortunately, I have no doubt that their curiosity will drive them to continue to learn and form connections with new material for many, many years to come. I'm pleased to present this year's William C. Mules Prize to Morgan Borowski. Our next two awards recognize one of the qualities which we as educators and as a school value the most: growth. The Lucy C. Baird Award and the Burke Wilkie Trophy are presented to the members of the senior class who have shown the greatest all-around improvement. The journey through MBS for this year's recipient of the Lucy C. Baird Award has not been without challenges, but her perseverance and her unwavering spirit have helped carry her towards tremendous moments of success. One of her teachers shared that her engagement is unparalleled, her ability to collaborate is exceptional, and her willingness to take risks is inspiring. Her teachers also comment on her genuine desire to learn for the sake of learning, for the positive culture she helps create within the classroom. As someone who co-taught a course this spring in which this student was enrolled, and co-taught is a bit of a stretch. I think the kids actually at one point described me as a TA. Nevertheless, I can attest to the thoughtfulness of this student and their unwavering commitment to getting the most out of her time in the classroom. I'm thrilled to present this year's Lucy C. Baird Award to Simeon Williams. History of the 90s, best class ever. This year's recipient of the Burke-Wilkie Trophy joined MBS the same year that I joined MBS in the fall of 2020 to start his 7th grade year. His enthusiasm was present from the beginning, specifically when it came to the debate project in Ms. Phelan's class and the Bill of Rights project in Ms. Kellstrom's class. Fast forward to his senior year, and his teachers continue to comment on his enthusiasm, but note how this approach is consistent across all of his work. Whether it was a presentation in AS Economics or simply the routine of seeking out his teachers to help him prepare, this student developed the skills to engage deeply with his learning. What some of you might not know is that this student is a staunch supporter of fire safety protocols. Without fail, every day, anytime he had a test in Dr. Yalich's calculus honors class, he would find me in the student center and tell me he felt the school was due for a fire drill. Even though I will also say this student, when we had the dunk tanks, threw the ball 9 different times to try to get me in. So this is what happens when I get the microphone and you don't. Even though those requests were never fulfilled, I'm happy instead to present this year's Burke-Wilkie Trophy to Ben Tofius. Our next awards highlight students whose tremendous character has made them uniquely impactful members of their class. The Mrs. Thomas W. Caldwell Cup is awarded for consistent, conscientious volunteer service to the school community. There are a million things that I will miss about the class of 2026, and one of them is having this student pop his head into my door and ask me if I had a few minutes to chat. Whenever that happened, I knew I was in store for the following. Coincidentally, this actually happened yesterday, right inside Baird Hall. As I was walking down the stairs, this exact thing happened. First, I was likely about to be met with a proposal, but it would be phrased at first as a question, something along the lines of, Mr. Lease, has anyone ever, and then he would go from there. What would follow will be a logical, structured argument which outlined very clearly what he was proposing, why it was important, and how we would go about pulling it all together. I would respond with questions, potential roadblocks, occasionally an outright explanation of why it wasn't possible. But he would typically remain determined to find some way to make some version of his idea a reality. Did every idea or proposal come to fruition? Not exactly. But what I appreciate most about this student is their drive, their focus, and their commitment to making an impact. This certainly was reflected in his academic journey as one of the strongest students in an exceptionally strong class. But what makes him truly special is that so often his drive and commitment was focused on others. A fixture in our community service clubs and initiatives, this student was one who countless other students and adults on campus have relied on to support their own causes throughout the years. Please join me in recognizing this year's recipient of the Caldwell Cup, Evan Daniels. The Michael W. Ranger Award is presented by the faculty in honor of Mr. Ranger, a former parent and longtime board member who served as president of the board and whose extraordinary leadership transformed our school. The Ranger Award is presented to the senior who best exemplifies the qualities of leadership through humility, independence of mind, and self-motivation. June 18th, 2024 is a day which is chiseled into my memory, and more specifically, one meeting on that day. Just 10 days after our commencement ceremony and six days after the official end of the school year for our faculty, Ms. Cretton and I had a meeting with the recently re-elected class president over Zoom, who said he had an idea. He was proposing a trip for his class at the start of their junior year to help them further develop their connections and to be better equipped to support each other ahead of a year typically associated with challenges and stress. He came to the meeting with full financial projections, quotes from multiple camps and bus companies, leaving very little for Ms. Cretton and I to actually do. When we finally made it to the camp in the fall and I visited the camp director at lunch, I introduced myself as the head of the upper school, and they responded by asking, with no sense of irony, completely sincere, "How long exactly have you worked for Daniel?" I told him a little over a year. This trip is a great example of what he has often prioritized as a leader, creating opportunities for people to connect and share in meaningful experiences. I'm pleased again to recognize this year's recipient of the Ranger Award, Daniel Raymer. No offense, Felicia, best boss I ever had. The Philip L. Anderson Prize is presented to the senior whose enthusiasm, energy, and interest in the welfare of fellow students has served to promote a sense of school spirit within the MBS community. The award is given by the faculty to honor the service of Philip L. Anderson, head of school from 1974 to 1992. When I think about this year's recipient, I think about the difference between happiness and joy. I've actually posed that as a question in interviews before, because we see happiness all the time, smiling faces, laughter, moments that occur every day on our campus. And don't get me wrong, we work with your teenagers, so we see the same range of emotions that you all see at home. But moments of happiness are not isolated by any means. Joy, though, is something a little different, and it's special. It underlies someone's very existence, who they are, and how they approach their life. As a teacher, when a joyful student walks into your classroom, it's like the whole world shifts on its axis, and you're suddenly able to do even more amazing work with that class. They elevate their peers, they inspire their teachers and coaches, and they provide an example to us as an institution of the type of student we strive to cultivate, and in this case, on this day, the kind we get to celebrate. It's my absolute pleasure to present this year's Philip L. Anderson Prize to Joey Laviola. The Hauserman Award is presented to the senior who displays sincerity, compassion, and consistent dedication to those qualities by best exemplifying human character. If we continue with the theme of joy, when a student joins the upper school after 9th grade, I'm always curious exactly what their transition to MBS will look like. Will they find their people? Will they find their passion? Will the experience be what we hope for them and what they hope for themselves? When this student applied to MBS ahead of her 10th grade year, I was pretty convinced from her application that we were getting a student whose perspective and interests perfectly aligned with the students who not only get the most out of the opportunities we present, but also one whose impact on our school would be significant. Her teachers will remember her for her investment in learning, for the sake of learning, for the passion she showed for the wide range of topics she encountered across the curriculum, and for the genuine warmth and care she demonstrated to everyone she came across on any given day. It's almost like she saw each day at MBS as a gift and wanted to make sure we all felt that way too. For her relentless positivity, inquisitive nature, and never taking herself too seriously, I'm pleased to present this year's Hauserman Award to Sophia Greller. Here. The last two awards are of unique significance as they are the only awards given today whose recipients are chosen by a vote of the senior class. The Nancy Carolyn Hoyer Memorial Award and the Arthur Lee James Award are presented to the members of the senior class who have been judged by their classmates to have best shown the qualities of integrity, responsibility, and school spirit. This year's recipient is a fixture at almost all of our school events, whether she is participating in some form or cheering on her peers. Her friendly disposition and kind nature convey the genuine care she has for her classmates and the connection she has formed with the entire MBS community. When I asked a few members of the senior class to describe this student, they said she's one of the most positive people they've ever met and someone who is always willing to do what she can to make someone's day better. Her teachers and coaches agree, noting that her presence in their classrooms, on the field, or on the stage seemed to lift everyone's experience as a whole. As kind as she is talented, please join me in congratulating this year's recipient of the Nancy Carolyn Hoyer Memorial Award, Cameron Weil. All right. This year's recipient of the James Award tends to attract a bit of a crowd. A natural entertainer, he's never shy about sharing what he's learned with groups large and small. His unique skill set has inspired awe amongst those who've witnessed his impressive feats, even inspiring me to try to learn a skill to share with him and to share with all of you today. I have in my hand a deck of cards. Unfortunately, a slight lack of time in the last few weeks and a shocking depreciation in my manual dexterity means that the skills I was able to learn require a deck of cards that is a little less than legitimate. $10 on Amazon, in case you want them. For the connections he's formed with his classmates and the hours of entertainment he's provided, and for just being himself every day, I am pleased to present this year's Arthur Lee James Award to Joey Laviola.
Wow. It is truly hard to believe that we have reached this moment. For me personally, I feel like I am graduating with this senior class, as we have both reached the end of our time here, for now anyway. So please bear with me if I'm a bit emotional this morning. I'm guessing I may not be the only one. This school and this community have meant more to me than I can possibly express. I am truly honored to have been your head of school this year, and if I was going to be interim head of school for a year, I cannot even begin to imagine a better senior class than this one. At every turn, I have been so impressed with the talent, kindness, and tenacity that this group has demonstrated. So many of the joyful moments that I experienced this year involve this year's senior class. Watching the SGA get it sworn in right here on Senior Circle, seeing so many of you take leadership roles at the club fair, hearing about your personal journeys in your language of leadership speeches, watching independent study, ICP, and senior project presentations, seeing you give your all on the court and field during your games, watching your outstanding performances in the concerts, fall play, and spring musical, seeing your incredible creations in the art show, and of course, having the opportunity to teach you about credit cards and payroll taxes. It's been quite a year. We have weathered some challenges together. Quite literally, we weathered the weather as we lined up and ate lunch outside while we waited for the dining hall to be completed. I think we can all agree it was worth the wait. On a much more serious note, we navigated the tragic loss of one of our students, Mateo Kaufman-Sandler, together as a community, and we showed remarkable resilience. We continue to hold Mateo's family in our thoughts. We are finishing our MBS journeys together, but from there, our paths diverge. You all are at the beginning of your journey, looking ahead to your college experience, your careers, and the rest of your lives, while I am looking ahead, hopefully, to a relaxing retirement. So I think this is a rare opportunity for me to tell you some things that I wish I had known when I was sitting in your seats. As you may know, I started my career here as an educator, and it is still very much a part of who I am. So anytime I get the chance to go back into teaching mode, it gives me joy. So buckle your seatbelts. I have spent a great deal of time over these past few months thinking about what I wanted to say to you today. In fact, if I'm being completely honest, I started thinking about this moment as soon as I was asked to serve as the interim head of school. But what will I say to the senior class at commencement was my first thought, followed shortly by how am I going to tell my husband that retirement is going to have to wait a year? Thank you to my very supportive spouse. That second question turned out to be much easier than the first. Of course, the typical advice that people give at graduation is to go do something outside your comfort zone, spread your wings, and expand your horizons. Well, I feel like this class has mastered that. You have done an amazing job of taking advantage of the many opportunities available to you here at MBS. So many of you have built impressive resumes of service, academics, athletics, arts, and other extracurriculars that have helped you grow into well-rounded, multidimensional, and interesting adults. At the beginning of the year, I spoke about how stepping outside your comfort zone repeatedly will actually make it grow. I think it is safe to say that you are leaving here with very large comfort zones. I could also tell you, make sure you go see your professors at school, build relationships with them, and self-advocate when needed. After all, building a network is critically important. In this day and age, most resumes are being filtered by AI bots, making it more difficult than ever to get noticed without the benefit of a personal connection. But again, you have had the experience of building meaningful relationships with your teachers, advisors, and other adults on campus. So you've already begun to exercise those muscles. With the skills you have built here, I am confident that you will effectively navigate the faculty network at college and build a professional network as you embark upon your career. But also remember that the relationships with faculty and staff that you have cultivated here do not end after today's ceremony. They are yours to keep and to continue to nurture as you choose. For many of us, having former students continue to visit and communicate with us is a highlight of being in education. It is so gratifying to watch you continue to grow using the strong foundation that you built here. And remember, you never know who will be able to help you with an introduction or a personal connection in the future. So keep your network strong. But I think the most important advice I can give you today is to be open. Be open to new experiences, people, courses of study, and career options. You may know that, I may not know, I am a very big American football fan. And there is an expression in football that you might be familiar with. Commentators will often talk about a quarterback staring down the receiver. And for those who are not familiar, what this means is that the quarterback is so focused on his target that everyone knows where he's going with the football. It makes it easy to defend and unlikely to succeed. But the problem with staring down your receiver goes beyond just broadcasting your intentions. When the quarterback is too locked in on one target, it doesn't allow him to see the other opportunities on the field. In short, he can't react to the information he's receiving from the defense and effectively pivot to another plan. Sometimes we are so set on a particular goal or path that we are unable to admit to ourselves that our goals may have changed. And it renders us blind to the other possibilities that are out there. Some of you may already know what you plan to major in and even what career you want to pursue. However, the statistics tell us that many of you will change your mind. Be open to that. Remember that you will likely be exposed to new courses of study and interest. Changing your mind is not quitting or failing, but ignoring that gut feeling that you are meant to be on a different path can be something you end up regretting. Right up until the end, my career has been defined by being open to a new and different plan than the one I had imagined for myself. And I think it's worked out pretty well for me. I also want to say just a few words about the role of anxiety in your life. Anxiety is a word that gets used a lot these days, and it has a strong negative connotation. For those with an anxiety disorder, it is certainly not something to make light of and can require medical attention. However, for many of us, it can actually be a powerful motivator. It is your gut's way of telling you that something matters to you. Whether you are taking a test, making a presentation, going for an interview, or starting a job, that nervousness or anxiety you feel is what gives you the motivation to prepare. If you don't have some level of anxiety as you embark on a new experience, whether it's college or a new job, it's probably not challenging enough to keep you interested for very long. In moments of uncertainty, that nervous energy actually unlocks our capacity for innovation while sharpening our mental clarity and performance as we confront the unknown. It pushes us toward the goals that matter to us, encourages to reach out for help when needed, and helps us to be more effective. Ultimately, it is not a flaw. It is the engine of our tenacity. And you know how we all feel about tenacity. So when the nerves kick in, embrace the feeling and use it to power you forward. Before I end my remarks, I want you to think of the relationships and people who have helped guide and shape you. Your families, your advisors and teachers, your peers and coaches have been here to challenge you and cheer for you. So when you go out into the world, you'll be bringing part of your families and the Morristown Baird community with you. And parents and guardians, I promise that as difficult as it may be to step back and give your children even more independence and autonomy, the values that they learned around your dinner table and the critical thinking they practiced in our classrooms will prepare them to become the ethical leaders we need. At my own kids' graduations, I remember feeling like I had so much left to teach them and no time left to do it. The reality is that they were ready to learn those lessons on their own, sometimes the easy way and sometimes the hard way, but they learned nonetheless. To those in the front rows, our talented and dedicated faculty and staff, thank you for believing in each and every one of these wonderful students and helping them to grow into the best versions of themselves. You inspired, nurtured, and cared for them. You are a big part of why they stand before us today, prepared for the life journey ahead. Thank you. Class of 2026, even as you're out there changing the world, please remember to come back to MBS. You are an MBS student for a relatively brief time, and now you are part of our alumni community for life. Whether it's attending homecoming, popping in during a college break to say hi to a favorite teacher, or grabbing a snack at everyone's favorite spot, the Crimson Cafe, this place, this campus, will always be part of your journey. It has been my great pleasure to be part of your experience here, and I sincerely thank you for leaving our school better than you found it. Nixon 4, congratulations, graduates.
You know what, Felicia? I would like you to stand right there for me, please. This is not in your programs today, so you won't find my name or me speaking on your behalf, but of the Board of Trustees. However, good morning. My name is Michael Moraes, and I'm the proud father of Brady and president for the Board of Trustees here at Morristown Baird School. As many of you know, last year, our board faced a difficult decision, and we made a strategic change. Now, with all changes, especially at the head of school, there's quite a bit of uncertainty and fear that goes with that. We were most fortunate to have Felicia Levinson step forward and take this challenge on. Recently, just recently at our Board of Trustees year-end dinner, Felicia shared with us that throughout her whole professional career, she had always been in the number 2 role. And this was a chance for her to take the helm, even though it was in the twilight of her tenure here at Morristown Baird. You see, Felicia already had a retirement party. There were gifts given, speeches made. She didn't give them back, by the way. Mark wants the storage space back that he keeps in the next property. Her husband, David, and she had a plan, and this was not it. And that said, Felicia, I'm so very grateful you decided to take this challenge on. Throughout our 2025 and 2026 school year, Mrs. Levinson led our faculty, our administration, and our children with a work ethic second to none. Felicia, you almost instantly turned uncertainty into inspiration. In mid-November, we had a change at the Chief Financial Officer position. Felicia stepped in without being asked. She and I set up a dual authorization system and spoke weekly to make sure that the school's finances were at the top of her list of priorities. All the while serving on the new head of school search committee, as well as finishing our dining hall project, which was a great success. There is a vast difference between good and great, between a boss and a leader. It's not an 8-hour day, 5 days a week. It's 12 to 15 hours a day. It is 7 days a week. As a parent and as a trustee, I've often been asked, MBS should have a course on business leadership. Now today I stood up and I'm here to tell you all, your children received a master class on leadership, honor, and integrity this year by Mrs. Felicia Levinson. I'm not done. Felicia, on behalf of the Board of Trustees, I am pleased to announce the dedication of the Felicia Levinson Faculty Lounge. This renovation, including new furnishings, kitchenette, and many other new amenities, as well as a future expansion, will serve as a tribute to you as our head of school and your love for your faculty here at Morristown Baird. Thank you to Betsy Patterson, our amazing advancement director, as she was the architect of this thoughtful dedication to our head of school. Graduates, as you leave here today, take this example set by Mrs. Morrison. No matter what chapter of your life you choose to pursue the summit, to reach the top requires a tireless effort and an unwavering willingness for success. Felicia, I know I speak for this entire community when I say thank you for your leadership, thank you for your dedication, and thank you for being the class of 2026 head of school.
Good afternoon. My name is Lori Cretton, and I've had such the sincere pleasure to be the senior class dean for the last 2 years. So it's my honor and privilege to present the diplomas for the Morristown Baird School class of 2026. Lillian Rose Aberton. Lucas James Aguilera. Riley Elizabeth Algazi. Theo James Allen McGran. Namal Amasiri. Nicholas Elijah Franklin Anderson. Aiden Michael Berry. Matthew Savage Baum, Jr. Alyssa Morgan Ben-Bassett. Zachary Ethan Beagleson. Christopher Vincent Blancuzzi. Oliver Jack Blum. Madeline Margaret Bond. Abigail Maya Borofsky. Morgan Borofsky. Colin Thomas Brooker. Samantha Rose Capuccio. John Arthur Cartagena V. Catherine Elizabeth Chandler. Bryce Rudy Chiquino. Philip John Sickler. Carly Antonia Kofer. Megan Elizabeth Colella. Ellis Shannon Conroy. Aiden Thomas Conway. Amani Marsha Janae Crosby. Ava Rachel D'Agostino. Sarah Elizabeth DeMello. Evan Jacob Daniels. Gabrielle Sophia Davis. Allison Karina Delzo. Gabriella Nicole DiGeronimo. Evan Max Dixter. Angus Edward Downey. Blake Sebastian Evans. Charles David Everett. Juliana Rose Falzon. Charles Taylor Fernandez. Paige Sheila Flaherty. Rye Bernard Fleming. Jacob Benjamin Froelich. Antonia Galdi. Trevor Joseph Gatz. Skylar Hudson Goldstein. John Martin Ganella. Shyla J. Gonzaga Torres. Nyla Amani Gonzalez. Hannah Grella. Sophia Rose Greller. Bennett Edward Gross. Alexandra Eve Hammond. Brennan Matthew Pace Hampton. Lily Brooke Horowitz. Alex Ritzoff. Isabel Sarah Jaffe. Quinn Fiona Jeffrey. Christian Andrew Jones. Sarah Sparks Jordan. Jake Ryan Com. Nathan Todd Com. Julia Rosemary Carrison. Adriana Grace Caracas. Mitchell David Knepfer. Sophie Claire Kotkin. Joey Laviola. Mia Alexandra Lanez. Maya Evangeline Lavasser. Alexander Jack Levy. Drew Logan Levy. Kelsey Reese Limbert. Ethan Philip Liss. Nathan Munn Luther. Ari Ryan Mandel. Sarah Elizabeth Marine. Brady Rodman Moraes. Hannah Beth Mortazavi. Rhodes Alexander Musalam. Alexa Haley Myers. Avery Neuer. Sohan Choi Norden. Brian Harrison O'Neill. Taylor Adele O'Neill. Ashley Blair Parker. Claire Michelle Patchett. Darius Xavier Payne. Olivier Edwin Fenord. Sarabella Grace Ponsiglione. Shane Bennett Posner. Daniel Justin Raymer. Emerson Lark Reinhardt. AJ Rodriguez. Jamie Brooke Rosenblum. Noah Harris Rosenthal. Jack Solomon Roston. Isabel Carly Rothschild. Mia Bronwyn Rubin. Ellie Ann Sadrian. Siley Sawali. Ronnie Benjamin Schreier. Rebecca Lee Schwartz. Bridget Claire Sherman. Reed Isabella Snyder. Sophia Nicole Solomon. Molly Rachel Summer. Jack Song. Oscar Nicholas Speranza. Lester Everett Taylor IV. Jack Perry Thompson. Benjamin Theodore Tofius. Logan Jacob Turner. Grace Ann Tuttle. Aiden Grace Barbero. Marilee Elizabeth Vartanian. Valerie Amelia Vega. George Gabriel Ventura. Isabella Janine Webb. Cameron Lily Weil. Zipporah Weiss. Charlotte Bridget White. Gavin Bryce White. Simeon Arer Williams. Please join me in welcoming the class of 2026.
You thought this was over, didn't you? Well, before I begin, I would like to mention that it was bold of them to give me a microphone after giving me my diploma. My name is Rye Fleming, though some of you may know me as Agent Zero, and I've been part of the Morristown Bear community since the 6th grade. I stand before you today with immense gratitude in my heart for having the honor of sending the Morristown Bear class of 2026 off into the unknown. What does it mean to graduate? Is it just receiving a piece of paper that proves I met the requirements to move on to the next chapter in life? These diplomas represent something much more profound. They mark years of collective effort, resilience, and the drive of every single person in this community. They confirm the progress that was earned through endurance, not shortcuts. Does this remind you of anything? Could it be a certain school's motto, perhaps? Ad astra per aspera, to the stars through adversity. Our stars have never been easy to reach, but we have reached one today because we kept pushing forward when the path felt narrow, or rocky, or even when it seemed invisible. To our educators, mentors, and staff, and especially to our dean, Ms. Cretton, a final thank you from all of us. Your guidance and unwavering support has fueled our minds and formed our paths. To our families and friends, thank you for your sacrifices and for being our pillars of strength, encouragement, and love. Your belief in us has been our greatest motivation. Before we get out of here and celebrate, I would like to direct my final words towards the 120 incredible graduates that I'm lucky to call my friends. In my 7 years at Morristown Baird, I've never seen a class as passionate, school-spirited, and connected as this one. So in our last seconds of high school, I want us to relive the moments that brought us together. Senior sunrise, packing men in the arena while the boys' hockey team made their competition seem like a joke, sitting in awe as we watched the performances in Founders Hall, and of course, Miss Platt hunting for our phones while we were sitting in the stew. But we should thank her. She saved us from doom scrolling on Instagram Reels and watching Young Sheldon edits. All of this was truly crazy. Some could say crimson crazy. We were more than just classmates. We were fans of one another. When one of us succeeded, we were always right behind them, cheering them on. So, as we venture off into the unknown, I want us to remember all the ways that we reached this star together, because our futures shine bright. Congratulations, class of 2026, and wahey! Thank you.